Imagine a plane. No, not a plane. A ghost, something that moves so fast. By the time a radar detects it, it is already gone. Something that flies so high. No missile on Earth can touch it. Something that doesn't just dominate the sky. Lockheed Martin won't talk about it, but behind the sealed doors of the most secretive facility in American aerospace history. They're building it anyway. This is the SR-72, and when it finally takes to the skies, warfare will never be the same again. To understand the SR-72, you have to understand what came before it. 1964. The Cold War is at its most dangerous. The Soviet Union has nuclear missiles pointed at every major American city. And the United States needs to know where they are. All of them. So they build something the world has never seen. The SR-71 Blackbird, a reconnaissance aircraft so fast, so untouchable, it became the stuff of legend. It flew at Mach 3.2. 3 times the speed of sound. At 85,000 feet. Higher than most people will ever travel in a commercial jet. When Soviet radar detected it. When Soviet missiles were fired at it, the Blackbird didn't evade them, it simply accelerated. And left them behind. Over 32 years of service. Over 17,000 flight hours. Not a single SR-71 was ever shot down. Not one. But by 1998. Because satellites had taken over reconnaissance. Or, so everyone thought. Here is what they don't tell you about spy satellites. They're predictable. Every nation on Earth with a halfway decent space program knows exactly when an American reconnaissance satellite is passing overhead. Down to the minute. Russia knows. China knows. North Korea knows. So what do? They hide. They cover their missile launchers. They move their assets underground. They wait for the satellite to pass, and then they get back to work. It is a chess game played in orbit. And America was losing. Because you can't win a war with intelligence that is 90 minutes out of date. You need real time. You need something that can appear without warning, fly anywhere on Earth within hours. And be gone before anyone knows it was there. Something that doesn't follow a predictable orbit. Something that doesn't show up on a schedule. Something hypersonic. Deep in Palmdale, California, sits a place most Americans have never heard of. But every defense ministry on Earth fears it. Lockheed Martin Skunk Works. The most secretive advanced development facility in the world. This is where the U-2 spy plane was born. Where the SR-71 Blackbird was designed in total secrecy. Where the F-117 Nighthawk, the world's first stealth aircraft, was built years before anyone knew it existed. Where the F-22 Raptor was conceived. If you want to know what America's military will look like in 20 years, you look at what Skunk Works is doing today. Lockheed's then CEO, Marillyn Hewson, confirmed it publicly. Skunk Works was developing a successor to the SR-71. They called it the SR-72, and they said it would fly at Mach 6 twice as fast as the Blackbird. 6 times the speed of sound. At that speed, the aircraft isn't just fast. It becomes a weapon in itself. Let's put Mach 6 into perspective, because numbers alone don't capture it. A commercial airliner flies at roughly 575 miles per hour. A rifle bullet travels at about 1,700 miles per hour. The SR-71 Blackbird. 2,200 miles per hour. The SR-72? Over 4,600 miles per hour. Think about that. At Mach 6, New York to Los Angeles in 25 minutes, London to New York in under an hour, any point on Earth. Reachable in less than 2 hours. But here is the part that keeps enemy generals awake at night. At Mach 6, a hypersonic strike vehicle doesn't need a warhead to be lethal. The kinetic energy alone, the sheer force of impact at that velocity, is enough to destroy a hardened underground bunker, no explosion needed. Just physics. They call it a kinetic kill. And there is currently no defense system on Earth fast enough to stop it. Not Russia's S-500, not China's HQ-19, nothing. Here's the thing nobody talks about when they discuss hypersonic aircraft. The hardest part isn't the airframe, it isn't the materials, it isn't even the stealth. It is the engine. A conventional jet engine works by sucking in air, compressing it, igniting fuel, and blasting it out the back. Simple, elegant, proven, but at Mach 6, a conventional turbine engine would tear itself apart. The air coming in is moving so fast, so violently, that the engine can't compress it fast enough. The whole system just fails. So engineers developed something called a scramjet. Just a carefully shaped inlet that compresses air through geometry alone, and ignites fuel in a supersonic airstream. It sounds simple. It is anything but. The combustion happens in milliseconds, at temperatures exceeding 3,500 degrees Fahrenheit. Inside an engine traveling faster than a speeding bullet. For decades, the scramjet was theoretical, a promising idea that kept failing in testing, but Skunk Works cracked it. By combining a conventional turbine engine for takeoff with a scramjet that kicks in above Mach 3, they created the turbine-based combined cycle engine, TBCC, one of the most significant propulsion breakthroughs in aviation history. And almost no one is talking about it. Speed kills, but speed also burns. At Mach 6, the friction between the aircraft and the atmosphere generates temperatures that would melt conventional aluminum airframes. The SR-71 dealt with this by using titanium, an extremely rare, extremely expensive metal that could handle the heat. The SR-72 faces temperatures nearly double that. Standard titanium isn't enough anymore. Skunk Works turned to ultra-high temperature ceramics. ATC's materials that can withstand temperatures above 5,400 degrees Fahrenheit. Hotter than some stars. Combined with advanced carbon-carbon composites, and a new generation of thermal protection coatings. The SR-72's skin is designed to absorb, deflect, and radiate heat in ways that still border on science fiction. But here is the elegant part. The heat isn't just a problem to be managed, it is also part of the stealth solution. At hypersonic speeds, conventional radar-absorbing materials burn off. But the plasma sheath generated by that same heat actually absorbs radar waves. The faster it goes, the harder it is to detect. The SR-72 becomes more invisible the faster it flies. Nature and engineering working together. So what exactly is the SR-72 for? The official answer is reconnaissance. Intelligence gathering, the same mission as the SR-71, but defense analysts aren't buying it. Because Lockheed didn't just design a plane to take pictures. They designed a platform. A weapons delivery system. In 2018, Aviation Week revealed something stunning. Lockheed had filed patents for a hypersonic strike weapon, designed to be carried internally by the SR-72. That means this aircraft isn't just watching the battlefield. It can strike it. Anywhere on Earth. Within 2 hours, without warning, without interception. Think about what that means strategically. A rogue nation launches a missile, the SR-72 is already airborne. It arrives before the missile completes its arc. It destroys the launch site before the missile lands. That is not reconnaissance. That is a paradigm shift. Prompt global strike. The ability to hit any target on Earth, in under 2 hours. From the continental United States. No forward bases needed. No aircraft carriers needed. No permission from allied nations. In military strategy, there is a concept called response time. How long does an adversary have to react before a threat becomes reality? With a ballistic missile, you get roughly 30 minutes of warning. With a hypersonic glide vehicle like Russia's Vanguard, you get maybe 10 minutes. With the SR-72, you get none, because unlike a ballistic missile, the SR-72 doesn't follow a predictable arc. It doesn't go up and come back down in a parabola that radar can calculate. It flies flat. Russia has been developing hypersonic weapons for a decade, their Kinzhal missile, their Zircon. Their Vanguard. China has the DF-17. The DF-CF hypersonic glide vehicle. Both nations have invested billions specifically to counter American military dominance, but neither has anything that can catch the SR-72, because you can't intercept what you can't see coming. And you can't see coming what travels at Mach 6. Here's where it gets interesting. The US government has never officially confirmed the SR-72 program. There is no line item in the public defense budget. No congressional testimony. No press releases. Nothing. But there is a budget category that defense insiders call Black. The black budget. Classified, unacknowledged programs funded through hidden appropriations. The U.S. black budget runs into the tens of billions every single year, spent on programs that officially don't exist. And here's what we do know. A mysterious aircraft was photographed near Area 51. Triangular, matte black, moving at extraordinary speed. The Pentagon refused to comment. Civilian aviation tracking websites recorded an unidentified aircraft flying from Palmdale, California, at speeds no known aircraft could achieve, and a Lockheed Martin executive, speaking off the record, told Aviation Week, "It is not a question of whether it will fly. It is a question of when you'll find out about it." The SR-7, the 2nd of May already exist. It may already be flying. We just don't know. Here's the twist nobody expected. The first version of the SR-72 won't carry a pilot, it will be unmanned, a drone. Not just any drone. A full-scale, Mach 6. Hypersonic autonomous strike and reconnaissance platform. Why unmanned? Because at Mach 6, the human body becomes a liability. The G-forces during high-speed maneuvers, the physical stress of hypersonic flight, the reaction time needed to navigate at those speeds. A human pilot simply can't keep up. But an AI-assisted flight control system. It processes data thousands of times faster than the human brain. It doesn't feel G-forces. It doesn't panic. The SR-72 drone isn't just a reconnaissance aircraft or a strike platform, it is a glimpse at the future of warfare. Autonomous, hypersonic, invisible, unstoppable. And it raises a question that military ethicists are only beginning to grapple with. If a machine can decide to strike a target, at Mach 6, with no human in the loop, who is responsible for what happens next? America isn't the only one racing toward Mach 6. China's aerodynamics research centers have been testing hypersonic vehicles since 2014. Their Starry Sky 2 vehicle reached Mach 6 in testing. Their WZ-8 reconnaissance drone is already operational. Russia, despite economic challenges, has continued hypersonic development. Their JUR hypersonic reconnaissance drone program is active. And then there is the private sector. Hermes Corporation, a U.S. startup backed by the CIA's venture capital arm, is developing a Mach 5 aircraft, called Quarterhorse. Reaction Engines in the UK is developing the Sabre engine, a combined cycle engine that could enable single-stage to orbit flight. The hypersonic arms race is real. It is accelerating. And the nation that wins it won't just own the sky. It will own the future of warfare itself. There is a reason Lockheed named it the SR-72, not the F-something, not the B-something. SAR Strategic Reconnaissance. The same designation as the Blackbird, a deliberate signal. A declaration. This is the heir to the greatest aircraft ever built. The SR-71 flew for 32 years without losing a single airframe to enemy action. It set records that still stand today. It changed what was possible. The SR-72 won't just match that legacy. It will exceed it. Because the SR-71 was built for a world of two superpowers and nuclear standoff, the SR-72 is being built for a world of multiple threats, contested airspace, and warfare at machine speed. A world where the first nation to see, to strike, to disappear, wins. America built the Blackbird in secret. And it changed the Cold War. America is building the SR-72 in secret. The SR-72, it may already exist, it may already be flying, above the clouds. Above the reach of any weapon ever built. A ghost, a shadow. And somewhere in a sealed hangar in the California desert, engineers who can't talk about what they're building, are building the most extraordinary machine in human history. The question isn't whether the SR-72 will change warfare. It already has. The question is, because next episode, we're going somewhere even more classified. Even more dangerous, even more extraordinary. You won't want to miss it.